game. Blouses.
Galanchuk.
Disaster.
Spaghetti.
Disaster.
Well, I mean, I'm no doctor.
We now join America's most popular show, already in progress. Everybody loves
Mitch and Sean. You guys are the greatest duo.
Fantastic.
That team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
And hello, welcome everybody to the Postgame Pints podcast with myself, Mitch Gallo, and Sean Campbell. Sean, as you can see, I couldn't do the beer pour with you, and thank you once again to LaBrosse Brewery for being one of the proud sponsors, our main sponsor here on the Postgame Pints podcast. Now, the reason I couldn't do the beer open with you,
You started earlier than me?
yeah, I was waiting for you to get to your camera. And your delay was during happy hour. Let's put it that way.
I had to coach baseball.
I had to finish this one. This one is actually the nor'easter.
Oh, I love the nor'easter.
And as soon as I finish this nor'easter, which I opened about 25 minutes ago, I will move on to the beer here that I have, the Blanche de l'Ouest.
Oh, I like that one too.
All right, so that's why I didn't do the beer opening with you. The nor'easter is good, so I'm not going to chug it. It's just it's like I'm going to drink a crappy beer if I'm going to chug, or I'll take one of your poundable Camels, which I enjoy. But this nor'easter, I'm going to enjoy it and savor it. I'm going to drink it properly.
I took the Angry Gallo. I need a little kick. I've been these long games, playoff games for the Canadians and the hours and the early mornings. I just need a little coffee. I'm coaching baseball. That's why we started a little late. I know you don't really care by the time you're watching this podcast, but shout out to LaBrosse. By the way, 133 LaBrosse in Point Claire, LaBrosse.com. And with COVID regulations changing, if you don't follow them on social media, the terrace is coming. And Mitch, you and I went by the other day to pick up some beer. We saw Alex, Catherine, Dan, Enrico, like everybody that was hanging out there, and they were getting ready for the terrace. The terrace is laid out. It's almost ready to go. It looks like June 12th. I can't wait. I want to go. I want to hang out. I want to just sit out there on the front terrace and have a beer. Usually it's pick up beer and go, but it's things are changing. The summer is here. So check it out at LaBrosse. And again, proud sponsor. So I think this might be a double pint podcast. Look, shout out. Look, we got to get into a lot of things here. We've been doing the rapid fire 5-minute podcast. And if you haven't checked it, check it out on our podcast page, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find this podcast, the Postgame Pints with Campbell and Gallo. Right after every Montreal Canadiens hockey game in the playoffs, we're doing 5-minute postgame shows, and the reaction's been great, but we haven't sat down to slow things up, and we have editor headlines we want to get into today, a pop quiz, and we're going to be able to do that in a little slower form. So if you're a new listener, new subscriber, thank you. Check it out. This is what we're going to be doing throughout. So shout out to LaBrosse, Campbell, and Gallo. But Mitch, we have pretty much breaking news. I know this is going to be after the fact, but we finally got the number for the suspension for Mark Scheifele on the hit on Jake Evans. You and I really said our pieces on the latest 5-minute Postgame Pints podcast. Go check it out, what we thought about the hit. But what do you think about the 4 games?
All right, so we're going to get right into the rapid fire with a pretty hard-hitting debate and question, and something that people are going to be talking about for days on end. I look at it multiple different ways, and I think, Sean, the conclusion I come to is after the game, I was pretty emotional about what had happened on the ice. I always feel sick to my stomach. I've been in the building too many times watching players carried off on a stretcher. I was in the building when George Parros got carried off after the fight with Cole Tenor. I was in the building when Lars Zeller was knocked out by Eric Greiba of the Ottawa Senators. Mm-hmm. I've been in the building for a lot of scary moments when a player is in duress. So I was pretty emotional. And I still think that the suspension should have been for the entirety of the series.
Still might be.
It still might be. And the Canadians couldn't use it as extra motivation. You don't think those guys are going to be in the room saying, let's end this series before that guy can come back into their lineup? I think so.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is, okay, I think it should have been the series. However, my expectations were that the NHL was going to mess this up. And it was going to be 1 or 2 games. Now, I don't like to bring up networks that we don't have any affiliation with. Mm-hmm. However, listening to some of the comments that were made, I heard Kelly Rudy on Sportsnet say 1 game. I heard Cassie Campbell on Sportsnet say 2 games. I heard Craig Button on TSN say 2 to 3 games. So I'm thinking, oh boy, the NHL is going to undershoot this. It's going to be 1 or 2. This is what the people closest to the league are thinking.
So were you pleasantly surprised when you heard 4?
I'll give you another example. Mitch Melnick, who has covered hockey since before I was born.
Yeah.
Said that he thought he said, quote, I will be shocked if it's more than 2 games. He said he would be shocked. So Mitch Melnick is out there somewhere and he's shocked.
Shocked.
So shocked. So when I hear that, Sean, when I hear all the people saying that it's going to be less, and then of course you have, Mike Commodore and Sean Avery and all these people saying, oh, he's got to keep his head up. Evans has to take responsibility. It's the playoffs. He's got to expect to be hit. So I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm overreacting a bit. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. So I'm hearing all this and I'm thinking the NHL is going to give him 1 or 2 games. So I see TSN insider Darren Drager tweet out that he's hearing 4 games. I'm pleasantly surprised. I think it should have been more, but based on the standards set by the NHL, I'm happy that they gave a 4-game suspension. I'm sorry. I feel like I've rambled. You tell me what you think.
All right. So, we worked at TSN, the post-game show. Then we did our 5-minute post-game. And I just felt that it's just easy looking at the play. And again, sometimes you need a day. You need a day to think about it and come back on it. And I was like, in my head almost right away, I was like 4 or 5 games. So I was like 5. But to me, 5 is the stupidest number that they could have gave him, because you're just allowing him to come back for game 7, if there is a game 7. So if you're going to do that, they've done this before where they say you're done for the series. If the series is done in 3, 4, or 5 games, it doesn't really matter. You're done. The NHL has done that. There is a standard set for that. So I was kind of thinking that way. And then when we got, and it was a phone hearing, the moment it was a phone hearing, that cuts that 5. I'm like, well, it's not going to be 5. So, and I really don't think what he did was worth 2. So I've been all day kind of pushing the 3 because I didn't think they were going to have him play in a game in Montreal right away. Now, in this situation, it might happen, but it's after the fact, after 4 games. So 2 makes him available for game 4 at the Bell Center. And boom, what could happen there? Now, they went 4, so he could be available for game 6. But game 6 is a long ways away for the Winnipeg Jets for where they are in the series. So 4, when I was thinking 3, I did a couple of radio interviews. People were asking. I was like, I think it's 3. I think 3 is the number that they're going to come down on. And it was 4. So I think the NHL kind of played both sides. People who thought, because that was, Mitch, we spoke about it. That's the kind of hit that could get 1 and the kind of hit that could get 10. I had a conversation with Kerry Fraser and he said it was worse than Nazem Kadri. And Sean, he's an NHL referee.
He's a former NHL referee, but I told you the same thing when we worked together a couple nights ago.
Well, that's the whole thing is, Mitch. And I can see the argument about, we could talk about the charge, that's fine. But the argument that he didn't cleanly hit him in the head, he kind of up thrusted and it was a chest and it was a charge, but it wasn't a clean headshot. It was kind of got 50% or maybe 30. Like, to me, the headshot and the charge was nothing. And I know I've said this before. It was about his intent to injure. That's the only thing there. He went there to hurt him, and that's why he's being suspended. And that is, a monumental loss for the Jets. I think the most important player on the team is Connor Hellebuck. I'm going to tell you, Mark Scheifele's number 2.
Well, we know the center ice position is so important in the National Hockey League, but now you're down your top 2. We'll see what happens with Paul Stastny, but he didn't play game 1, and the series with Edmonton wrapped up a week and a half ago. So if a week and a half later he's not good to go, I'm going to guess that something's up there. And even if he's able to have a miraculous recovery and be in the lineup for game 2 or at any point in the series, you got to wonder what his health status is.
Yeah, is he going to be 100%, 60%, 70%? Lowry left the game. DeMello, that's
and I realize they're lucky. They're lucky that they have Pierre-Luc Dubois, who it was on the wing and can move to center. And that kind of mitigated the issue with Stastny being out a little bit in game 1. But you take out Mark Scheifele, that's a point a game player.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's a series changer.
Taking out Scheifele has significant impact on Blake Wheeler and Kyle Connor.
100%.
Those guys are amazing wingers, Sean. I love watching both play. Actually, Wheeler, we've spoken about it, and I think you like him even more than I do. Really underrated player.
Underrated player in the National Hockey League.
And Connor is one of the best snipers in the league. Who's going to get those guys the puck now?
Yeah.
Even Dubois, if he plays with those guys, Dubois is a really good player. I like Dubois.
Well,
he doesn't facilitate offense the way Scheifele does.
The just on the other side here of this, there's an unknown. Scheifele's gone for 4 games. He'll be back for a potential game 6. Jake Evans is gone for an indefinite period of time. Now he's got a concussion, protocol. It takes at least a week, and it's likely more because of his history. Who knows? I don't want to get into the games, but it's likely not going to be a fair saw-off that Evans is going to be back for game 6. It could be, but I'm just saying it's likely not. I don't know. But Evans is a huge loss for the Canadians. I know that your number 1 center, 63-point man versus Jake Evans, who toiled as a rookie 4th line, but the role that he played is very significant for the Canadians not having him in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay what you're saying, Sean, but I feel, and I want to say this in a nice way, but I'll always tell you what I'm thinking, even if it comes off mean or wrong or whatever. Evans was playing really good. In fact, he was playing well, and I think the Canadians actually have been undefeated when Evans is in the lineup, if I'm not mistaken about that. He was in the lineup for game 1, didn't play games 2, 3, or 4 against Toronto. I don't think he played game 5, played game 6 and 7 and game 1. He might have played game 5. I have to go back and double check. That said, I feel like he's a replaceable player.
Well, the thing is here, the Jets don't have anyone to replace Scheifele. Let's be honest. You mentioned Pierre-Luc Dubois, but they need him still.
No, but
the Canadians. But the Canadians have
Dubois replaces Mark Scheifele. Who's replacing Pierre-Luc Dubois? And if you tell me Andrew Kopp is replacing Pierre-Luc Dubois, okay, who's replacing Andrew Kopp? There's a trickle down effect.
Well, the trickle down effect for Stastny was already evident in game 1, the moment that he went down. But here's the thing: Jake Evans can't play with Danault and Gallagher. I know someone who can play with Danault and Gallagher, Thomas Tatar.
Yeah.
Or if you want that defensive shutdown guy that works hard, penalty killer, Artturi Lehkonen. Now, I may like Evans more than Lehkonen. I may like Tatar more than Lehkonen. I might like Evans more than Tatar. But the Canadians actually have choices.
They do, and that's where I'm at. So I don't want to be mean calling Evans a replaceable player, but I feel like he is, and I don't feel like Scheifele is replaceable for the Winnipeg Jets. And Sean, the last thing I'll say is when you look at a series, we just saw this story 1 series ago against the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs, home ice advantage, the better team in the regular season, the top 2 lines that can score, the defense that's so-so. Now, obviously, Winnipeg, the goalie situation is different than Toronto. But then they lose Scheifele when they lost Tavares in round 1 for the Maple Leafs. And they lose DeMello which the Leafs lost Muzzin in Game 7. I see history repeating itself.
Well, just watching the game itself, it looked like the Canadiens on a roll. But the Canadiens are very unpredictable, and they just won 4 games in a row for the first time all season long. So, that's probably going to come to an end abruptly because they put up duds just out of nowhere, just like they come up with gems out of nowhere. So, as much as everybody feels good about the Canadiens as this series and Scheifele gone, man, things can change fast on that hockey team. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But hey, anybody listening, got to keep it locked here on the Post Game Pints podcast because I believe both you and I picked the Canadiens to beat the Jets.
Yeah, in one of our 5-minute Post Game Pints podcasts, I had it in 6. You had them in 7.
I want to take it down to 6.
Yeah, well,
because I really think now that the story that everybody wants to see is not the one I was talking about before with the Canadiens not allowing Scheifele to play.
Yeah.
The story I want to see is Scheifele come back for Game 6.
And then the handshake line.
Knock them out in 6, and then the handshake line. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd love to Evans be ready for Game 6. I'd love to see it. Okay, we're supposed to be doing a rapid fire. We got caught up on this. Okay. I'm nice. I like that sound. Shout out to Labras of Blanche de West. Check out their lab series too, by the way. You and I got to taste test a lot of that lab series. I know that they're working on one. That black can one. Oh, that's a really, really good one. That's like a double, triple IPA. I put one of those and that wasn't as poundable as the Campbell play-by-play. By the way, I have to say this, Mitch, see this Campbell play-by-play IPA. There's no more left. And we made a bet who would sell out first. And I'm just saying, you can still go get your Angry Gallo. I encourage you to go get your Angry Gallo ale. But the Campbell play-by-play sold out, and it was officially sold out with Mitch Gallo buying me the last 4.
I have to say I purchased the last 4. But what I want to do now is have those beers on tap, have a party, and have both of us encouraging people to drink one of the 2 beers and see which of the 2 finishes faster.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just saying you threw all those ideas out. I know that you and I and Alex, we've been talking. Stay tuned to Post Game Pints on our social media. Mitch Y. Gallo on Twitter, Sean R. Campbell on Twitter. Since COVID started and the podcast started, we had ideas to have a launch party for this podcast. It's still there. We don't care that we've been going a year, by the way. The brainchild of this whole thing has been going a year plus, even with originally the Hot Topic podcast, now the Post Game Pints podcast. But I'm just saying for all our listeners, there will be a launch party. It will happen, and sooner rather than later. So stay tuned for details to that. All right, rapid fire very quickly because we have editor headlines and a pop quiz to get to today on the Post Game Pints. Mitch, there's 4 series right now in the NHL second round. 3 other series are going around. Do you have a favorite of the 3?
It's not close. It's not close. It's Vegas, Colorado. And Sean, I have to say, this format sucks. This should not be a second round playoff series.
Well, look, I know we could get mad at the format. I think now that things are a little bit better,
I understand.
Yes, they could have changed the format, but they had to put a format in place with the unknown.
Sean,
because they were playing with the unknown. This format's not going to happen again, so just deal with it. But you have right now two second round series that, to me, have 4 Stanley Cup potential teams in Vegas, Colorado playing each other, and Carolina and Tampa Bay facing each other. Yeah. And I legitimately think we did our top 5 teams in the playoffs a couple of podcasts ago, or top 5, and I had Carolina at 6. But I mean, all these are real Stanley Cup contenders, and they're going to be done in the second round. 2 of those teams. I know Carolina and Vegas, it doesn't look good for right now, but at the same time, so much can change, and we know that series, even if you have 3 wins, it can change. So yeah, we could get mad at the format, but it's just we got to deal with whatever this year is.
I know. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying it sucks. It shouldn't be a second round series. I'm
just taking it as a fun time.
Oh, stupid NHL. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just saying it should be. Like Vegas, Colorado, this quality of hockey, that should be the Stanley Cup final. That said, Sean, looking ahead to things, if we get a Tampa Bay, Colorado Stanley Cup final.
Oh, I know. It's
on paper could very well be the greatest Stanley Cup championship of all time for the matchup. Because I know back in the day, it was always like Boston, St. Louis, because St. Louis was the expansion.
Yeah.
Like the Stanley Cup finals in the 70s were a joke. They were a joke. And then in the 80s, it was always the dynasties of the Canadians, the Oilers, at the end the Flames, and the Islanders. It was dynasties. And then in the 90s, there was some good Stanley Cup finals, but nothing. Tampa Bay, Colorado could very well be the best matchup of all time.
I'm going to up you. I'm just saying, I know that it's weird, and I'm with you. Tampa Bay, Colorado, which is the one that I picked, a Tampa Bay, Colorado final. I will one up you, and just with the way that because we'll never get it again in normal NHL. I'll take a Montreal Boston, and I know that the hurdles to get through there, but I would take it. I would take it because you can't get it any other year. The Canadians could potentially win the Campbell Conference Trophy because they're going to face the winner of Vegas, Colorado. They are the ones facing. They're out in the West. The way that the reseeding works,
you know they're going to award that.
Well, yeah, the one's going to get one, but there's 3 Western teams and 5 Eastern teams left.
Right.
The Canadians are in the Western bracket unofficially. So it's kind of new. All right. I want to do this because I don't want to waste time on our editor headlines and our pop quiz. Editor headlines. We don't make the stories. We just make the headlines. You get thumbs up, thumbs down. We're going to do that in just a second. But Mitch, just a couple minutes on Jesperi Kotkaniemi and the playoff performer that he is versus the regular season performer. It's crazy. It's crazy how he transforms in the playoffs.
Don't know how to explain it. And there's moments where I think, okay, is it just a fluke? Is it just, a run of play that doesn't make sense? But when you get to 8,
sorry, I need to wash down the Angry Gallo Ale with a Campbell play-by-play.
When you get to 8 goals in 15 games, though, Sean, it's very impressive. And when you look at the playoff goals before the age of 20, at the age of 21 or before, and he has 8. He's in a very select. I think I saw it was Gretzky and Crosby.
Well, just
more than Gretzky and Crosby at that.
Within
age.
the Montreal Canadiens, there's only Claude Lemieux that had more by the age of 20.
Right.
Within the history of the Montreal Canadiens, before the age of 20, that's teenage goals.
It's funny that you bring him up because he's maybe one of the greatest playoff performers I've ever seen. In fact, I don't know how many players you can look at that, besides the goalie position, that have a Conn Smythe trophy and no other significant awards. That's Claude Lemieux when he won the Conn Smythe.
So, anyways, just on Kotkaniemi, and I keep saying this, Mitch, I think he needs to bring his playoff game to the regular season. He's a net front presence player. He's good. I know everybody thinks he's a playmaker. He's got a great shot. They talk about a shot all the time. The shot's going to come. And I know he scored a big shot in overtime, and that actually, got the series going for the Canadians in Game 6 in overtime against the Leafs. But Mitch, he's a net front presence. Look at the goals, the way he's scoring. He goes to the net. And yeah, he might get knocked down, but he causes chaos. Puck to net. And I think that's what is bread and butter. He doesn't do it enough in the regular season. I think he needs to transfer that over. All right. You have anything else?
I'm just saying I'm sorry that I'm looking away at times because I don't know if you have your eye on Carolina, Tampa Bay, but Kucherov just pulled some dirty things.
I'm watching the Bruins and Islanders. I'm watching the Bruins and Islanders. That's fine. We got it covered. We got both. Yeah.
I'm not saying in a good way. The bad type of dirty.
Oh, the Corey Perry dirty.
Yeah, Corey Perry dirty. And there's a brouhaha now. Some bad blood in Carolina, Tampa Bay.
All right. So, by the way, the one thing I want to say about that series is Tampa is showing why they're going to probably win the Stanley Cup. Why I picked them. They can play defense too. They are winning with defense. They get the lead and then they're shutting it down. It's unbelievable. Okay. Editor headlines, Mitch. I don't know if you have a theme that you're with one or the other. Editor
Well,
headlines.
I did. I stuck with all Leafs.
Leafs losing to the Canadians, Leafs being eliminated. I think I'm 4 out of 5 on that. We felt that is something that you could have a lot of fun with. So I have 4 out of 5 on the Leafs, and the Canadians being the Leafs being eliminated in the playoffs. It's time for editor headlines on the Post Game Pints podcast. Just shout out to Wolfpacks, wolfpacks.ca, WOOFPACKS.ca. If you have a puppy, you owe it to yourself to just check the website. All the information you need is there. Subscription based. Once a month, you get a package for your little puppy. So check it out. Wolfpacks.ca. Mitch.
Woof woof, woof woof.
All right. So editor headlines. We are actually keeping a running tally from our previous editor headlines. And I know I got double points for my Phil Kessel one a couple episodes ago. I really like that. Arizona resident holds hockey puck. I thought that was quite solid. All right. I'll let you start things off here on editor headlines, and thumbs up or thumbs down. Keep an eye out. Keep an ear out.
My first headline on the Maple Leafs losing to the Montreal Canadiens in round 1 of the playoffs has to do with everybody in Toronto, all those people burning jerseys and abandoning ship. Losing belief.
Yeah, leaf can be used in different contexts here. Losing belief. Losing belief. I don't know. I'm gonna give you one of my middle of the pack ones. I kind of like it because it's in relation to a song, because the winner went on to face the Winnipeg Jets, and I know that they would at some point went to Winnipeg to face Winnipeg, but now with the Leafs done, they are just staying home and doing nothing, right? Just like everybody else during COVID. So my headline reads, Toronto won't be leafing on a jet plane.
And on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
Yeah, they don't know when they'll be back into the second round. Probably never.
All right, Sean, my second headline reads, and this is for Game 7 between the Maple Leafs and Canadians. Muzz in? No, Muzz out.
I like that one. That's a shout out to Jimmy G. Jimmy G. We still love you, Jimmy. We still love you. You know what? One of our guests should be just Jimmy G. We should just have Jimmy G as a guest. Do you think Jimmy G's ever done a Zoom?
I think you might have to buy Jimmy G a webcam.
No, it would be great. We could put in the third, it would just be a character. We would draw it. We just draw Jimmy G. Oh yeah. Who would draw it? I could probably get my son to draw Jimmy G. What does he look like? Just draw anything. It doesn't really matter. All right.
Draw Caillou.
A 49-year-old Caillou.
49-year-old Caillou.
If anybody doesn't know what Jimmy G looks like, it's a 49-year-old Caillou. All right. Since we're on songs, we don't know what's going to happen with Joe Thornton after he lost, right? He signed with the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup. Right? I know you like this one. It's a band you like. Say it ain't so, Joe.
I don't know. It was a nice
just because I can't sing, it doesn't matter. Dave, put the music on top.
I think I would have just won the "Say It Ain't Joe."
I like the Joe at the end. It kind of punctuates it. I don't know. You tell us in the comments below which one was better. It wasn't great. My last three are better. My last three are better. I promise.
Sean, my third editor headline on the Maple Leafs losing is Campbell. I have a really, really funny choke.
Ouch. Ouch. I like that one.
It's subtle, right?
It's subtle. How about this one? So the star player for the Canadiens in the series was Carey Price. And the star player for the Toronto Maple Leafs is Austin Matthews. But Austin Matthews didn't show up like Carey Price did, right?
Right.
Matthews couldn't carry the Leafs.
Too simple.
But right to the point. He couldn't do what Carey did to the Leafs. Yeah, I like it. All right, go.
All right. Maybe you'll like this one then, Sean, because I have one for Austin Matthews too, who only had one goal in the
Mhm.
first round of the playoffs. My headline reads, and I thought of you for this one, and a little bit Dave Trent to do it too. Austin goes stone cold. Stone cold. Stone cold.
I love it. Anything with any wrestling theme, I'm good. All right. So my next editor headline is on the newspaper, and it's just a close up of Matthews and Marner on the bench. You know, and the visuals, the scenes, you know, their faces that you saw in games 5, 6, and 7 of the exasperation. They couldn't get it right.
Yep.
So my headline reads with their faces right there: expensive leaf blowers.
That one I like. That one I like a lot.
All right.
I get one more, right?
Yeah, one more. I have one more, and then
All right.
I got a pop quiz. I want to get it in before the end of post game pints here.
So this would be with that shot of Jesperi Kotkaniemi in game 2, where he's holding up the 4 fingers.
I like it.
So my headline reads, "Hey Leafs, 4."
It's not bad.
Apparently,
Not
Mitch
bad.
Marner played golf the day after they got knocked out.
Yeah, apparently he did. Good for him. I want to play golf too. All right. This one, my final one, switches over to game 1, Canadiens and Jets. So Mark Scheifele hits Jake Evans at the end of the game. And the Canadiens won the game. And there were so many good things that the Canadiens did in that hockey game, but it was overshadowed by the Mark Scheifele hit, which we know he's been suspended 4 games. So my headline reads, "Winner, winner, chicken shit."
Very nice, Sean. All right, we don't have that much. We don't have that much time left.
Okay. You ready for a pop quiz, Mitch Gallo? I got a pop quiz for you.
Better be quick.
I hope you're good and you can handle it. All
Hope
right.
so
So
too.
this is a pop quiz brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. Check out the best wings in the planet, on the planet,
best.
not in the planet,
The
the best, not in the country, not in Montreal. Cunningham's Pub, St. Anne Bellevue. Check them out on Facebook, their website, Cunningham's Pub. All right, Mitch, we're in the playoffs, Stanley Cup, NHL. I would like to know, I only have the top 8 because there's only 8 players that have at least 8 points. All-time points in NHL playoffs overtime. Only overtime points count. I want to
Only
know
overtime.
the top 8 players with the most overtime points in NHL history.
All right. One thing I want to know is how many are active.
2 with a clue of maybe 1.
2 with maybe 1.
Yeah, I think 1's going to retire.
1. Okay. Joe Thornton,
No, the other guy.
Patrick Marleau.
Patrick Marleau has 8 points. He's number 6 on this list.
Okay.
Some of them are easy, some of them are hard.
Crosby,
Crosby is not. He has 7 points. Sorry.
Malkin,
Nope, he's not on this list.
Taves,
Nope.
Kane.
Kane is on the list. He's number 4 with 8 points. So you got the active. Now the other ones are not active.
Joe Sakic.
Number 1, he has 14 points, 8 goals, 6 assists in playoff overtime. 14.
I knew
The next one has 9.
I knew that he had the most overtime game
All right.
winners.
So there's
I knew
2
that
with
one.
9 and the rest have 8. There's 2 with 9 and the rest are 8. If you get the 2 with 9, I'll be happy.
All right. Yzerman,
Yzerman is incorrect.
Forsberg,
No, it is not Forsberg. There's an obvious one. Just say it. The guy with all the points. Just say it.
Brett Hall,
Okay, well, yeah, Brett Hall is actually on the list, but the other guy with all the points. I mean, with all the points.
Gretzky,
Yes. Okay. So Hall and Gretzky. So now you're missing 3 more. The 2 with 9 and 1 more with 8. The 1 with 8 played for the
Messier.
Canadians. Nope. The 1 with 8 played for the Canadians, and the other 2 are more known as playmakers than anything else.
Lafleur.
Nope. The Canadian one is hard. He played with Knuckles, but it's harder. He has 8 playoff overtime
Matt
points.
Naslin.
No, he's not a guy that would normally be on this list. He's the only other guy. The other 2 playmakers you won. One you love. The other one is a playmaker.
Stefan Richer.
No, you love. No, I'm screwing the Canadian guy. That's the hardest one to get.
Okay, that's
Okay.
hardest.
Okay. Get the playmaker. There's a guy that you love, and there's a playmaker. A guy that you love, absolutely, and a playmaker.
Ovechkin.
No, you love him.
I already said Forsberg.
He played for the Canadians and the Leafs.
Played for the Canadian. Oh, Gilmore.
One of the best playmakers ever in the game.
That's what I'm missing?
No, you're missing one playmaker in the Canadian. You're missing two
Ron
now.
Francis.
No.
Adam Oates.
Yes, Adam Oates had 9 points. So did Doug Gilmore. 8 points for Kane. 8 points for Marleau. 8 points for Hall. 8 points for Gretzky. You're missing the former Montreal Canadian. One guy that just does not belong on a list with Sakic, Oates, Gilmore, Kane, Marleau, Hall, and Gretzky. He does not belong there. He scored one
Knuckles.
of the he played with Knuckles, scored one of the fastest goals ever in overtime at the start
Ryan
of overtime.
Skrubland.
You got it, baby. Ryan Skrudland.
The last clue gave it away. I knew
I give
about
you a
the-
lot of clues. I give you a lot of clues, but you got through it. And you could use any one of our pop quizzes here on the Post Game Pints podcast when you're out with your buddies. That's why we do it, because that's how it all started. It's just us sitting back and pop quizzing each other. Mitch, this is one of the last ever Campbell play-by-play IPA, but little secret, Alex says there might be more coming. Cheers.
Hey now. Cheers.
Shout out.
Well, how's that for your entertainment value?
They've done their job very, very well.
Come on.
VBF.